Hello everyone, and welcome to the worst idea that I have ever had. But a promise is a promise. So here we go, my full Dark Souls 1 LP. What a terrible idea this is. I have one slot to give, and that's just enough. First I will say... I'm just going to... Blake Grimes doesn't fit in the whole thing. The first thing that I will say is that this is probably not going to focus too much on things like DPS, optimal builds, shit like that. I'm going to focus more on things that I'm good at. Art and character design and personalities and things like that. Okay, but first let's try to get through this as quickly as possible. I will point out then in the context of character creation in terms of role-playing, Dark Souls 1 is a little bit more old school in that respect. Originally, the term role-playing meant to play a role. You're essentially making up a character and then acting. You're trying to imitate how that person would act. You become an actor. It goes back to tabletop, bullshit. So, you will note that even in character creation, the vast majority of options in the selection screen are all going to have very small, little bitty tidbits of information. Some of them, not all of them, of course, like commenter, very average commenter face. Commonly seen face and the 5-finger delta. We never get any more information about that whatsoever. But it's just little bitty things that you can just pull up in your own roleplaying. Like, say, if you're writing shitty fanfiction, not that I would do such a thing, writing shitty fanfictions of things, then you can pull up any of this information, and it's there for your amusement. Handsome face of the refined, common in Astora. Intelligent, sharp lines, but scholarly looks invite insult. It has commentary on everything. Look common and thoroughly known for its stalwart clerics. And, Japan. For love of God. Will you never learn? No, they won't. Jubilant Katarina, the most racist of all. Dubious Karim. Ominous features associated with Earl of Karim. What did they say, by the way? Known for festivity and drink. Oh. Japan. We gotta talk. Classic Xena. Thoughtful, mature face, common in historical Xena. Eerie Great Swamp. Great Swamp heretics face prejudice for their atypical looks. I don't know if that's racist, but I get the impression that it is. Far East Traveler, face from a distant eastern land, which looks strangely western for some reason, of almond eyes and thin lips. That seems racist. I want to say it is, but it might not be, I don't know. Because people get angry if I don't pick... This actually doesn't matter. Whenever you're customizing your own face, typically what you're going to want to do is to pick something that is as close to what you want to start with in the first place. I will first mention... There are two avenues that I can go through with this playthrough. One is making up a completely new character, and then developing a story and history and everything around that character. I could do that. Or I could just make my head. I don't know. But for the purposes of this playthrough, I decided to eventually go with the Delta Farmer. Primarily because all the characters that I actually wanted to make, I've already made for myself. So I would kind of just be rehashing territory, which would be dangerous for me. Or, I just wasn't very interested in the first place. Actually, I tried making a girl at one point. I actually recorded this once before, but it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. And I made a little lady, and she was a victim of the character creation in this game, which is not great. Okay, shaved. I'll be using this, of course. Cleanly shaved. It's not much of a choice for me. Receding. Rough warrior hair shows age. This is not really that receding, to be honest. Actually, doesn't look half bad. Short. Clipped short with a slight wave. What? Accented by sweat? Oh my god. Parted center. Neatly kept hair, common for youth. Yes, it is. Why do young people love this hairstyle? Even as a child in high school. Even as a wee babe in high school. People all the time wanted to wear this. It'll make me look so pretty. No! Makes you look like a fool. If you're watching this and you have that hairstyle, you're a fool. No regrets. No regrets. Semi-long, neatly kept hair, slightly long. Curly, sharply curled hair, cut short. So, within this, there's not too many little plot-centric things going on. But still, kind of. Bob neatly trimmed as the old nobility. This is the only one, really. And this is more of a real-world thing because this is actually a reference to Japanese nobility, who all look like idiots, apparently. Can you believe what a fashion disaster? And I've said it in Dark Souls 2, I'll say it here, it's important to be fashionable. To display a few things, I'll pick a hair color for a second. Black, basic color, basic color, basic color, basic color. Common in Kareem, dark blue. So even the hair colors sometimes have these little things. Common in North Katarina, gray. Katarina, of course, is the racist country, as you recall. So gray apparently is a very common color there. Loved by certain members of nobility, gold. So you could think that the gold is actually mixed with the silly Japanese noble hairstyle. So maybe that's something that you could use in your own role-playing? Considered antiquated in these times, silver. That's a little weird, like it's antiquated. That sort of implies that it's something that's intentional. I don't know. Dark purple, rare color of a near-extinct race. There is really no other information about this whatsoever. Because a near-extinct race seems to imply that they're not humans. I don't know. I imagine they just included purple because, hey, some people will want purple hair, you know. And they decided, yeah, let's just include some bullshit lore in here. Which FromSoft has a tendency to do that. Very rare color, red hair. Even though I have it. Sort of. I used to. But I want to actually be using that. Go with shaved. And should I pick this already? Yeah, yes, fine, alright. Okay, actually, hold on, let me do this first. Warrior. All of these, unlike Dark Souls 2, where you're just encouraged to level up forever and ever. By the way, if you don't like the fact that I'm lingering on this, fuck you. I love this shit! So we're gonna stick with it. Warrior. Fearless warrior, weapon expert, blah blah blah. I'm not going to go through all of these. But the general gist of things is that each one of these you can tell from their stats, as I'm going to hover over each one. Have their own benefits, their own weaknesses, and whatnot. I will mention the thief has the master key, by the way. If you want 2 starting gifts, that would be a good way to go. But all of them have their own sort of little role-playing aesthetics. But more importantly, for the late game, if you're aiming for an SL level of 125 or so, then you need to take into consideration what your final build is going to be, which is something I don't like about this game. And it's something they almost got right in Dark Souls 2, but unfortunately, since they included the soul memory system, it did not work out quite the way that they had expected. Not at all. Pyromancer is kind of considered by many to be the easy starting class because it actually has access to spells. Not so much for me. I really don't have a... Pyromancy's fine, but I don't really consider it to be overpowered. Cleric has some role-playing elements. Clerics will happen quite a bit in the storyline, as you will see. And lastly, Deprived. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord. But, I'll pick Deprived for a moment, just so I can show you all these things. Standard physique, slim physique. You can actually, with Cheat Engine, go in and alter very specific little things in regards to this, and make a bombalicious woman. I will tell you right now. Hot damn. I was actually tempted just for that momentary joke, but I think actually it goes away if you close Cheat Engine. Like, it doesn't carry over into save, so it doesn't matter one way or another. One thing I will mention, just for a character variation, is that the large upper body will actually make some armors look a little bit more normal. If you pick something, like if you wanted to play like a bear mode guy, this looks good whenever you have your armor off. But once you start putting on armor, I will show you for a moment, class. So like this, then it makes you look really chubby. It doesn't really have the same effects. And again, it's very important to be fashionable. Whereas if you're doing a large upper body, this looks a little bit more natural. But if you're just going with large, this can also look a little bit natural. So for me, usually, if I'm playing a big strong guy, usually I will either pick large upper body, not because of, you know, looking like this, because I am role-playing, we can't hit too close to home. But just because of the way that it looks with the armor. But for the purposes of this playthrough, I think I won't be quite so ridiculous. I will just go with the large. I'll tone it down just a little bit. Don't want you ladies swooning too hard. One thing... Oh... There are 2 things I actually want for the sake of showing you off everything as quickly as possible. One is the old witch's ring, which is what we're going to be using to speak to the fair lady. It's not really important. It's just kind of nice. It's just a plot thing. It's not going to affect your gameplay one way or the other. This, however, is going to affect your gameplay one way. This is the Master Key, and this is the thing that everyone uses. And everyone uses because it unlocks all sorts of crazy-ass shit. And we can go absolutely haywire as soon as we want to if we pick this. Tiny Bing's Ring, this actually increases your health, your overall health by a very small amount, pretty worthless. That you see at the bottom is a complete lie. The pendant actually doesn't have an effect. As everyone knows, of course, the pendant is a big troll item. Miyazaki was jerking himself off furiously. You could hear it all the way across the ocean, just all the way over here, about how much he loved the idea of the pendant. As far as role-playing goes, this is actually kind of an interesting item, just for the sake that they included it. That you actually have an option to pick something that is entirely centric on role-playing. Binoculars, you can find this instantly in the graveyard. Completely worthless. Twin Humanities, you can pick it if you want, but it's just 2 humanities. Black Fire Bombs, you pick this if you want to have access to the Demon's Great Hammer immediately, like as soon as you hit the first boss, the tutorial boss. Because that's pretty much the only way that you're going to reasonably kill him the first time that you see him. Goddess's Blessing, just one of the generic healing items. So what I'm going to do is actually going to pick the Master Key, but I think I'll just use Cheat Engine or something and just load in the Old Witch's Ring, just so that I can have the dialogue early on. Because otherwise I'm going to have to go to the late game, get the Sunlit Maggot, and then go back and give it to the fucking crows, and yeah, I don't want to wait around that long. Okay, but this is what we're looking at. Oh, wait, class. And for the purpose of this playthrough, I think I'm going to go with a strength build. I had considered the idea of doing something like dexterity/sorcery to try to show off as many things as possible, but I decided, you know what, I'm doing this, and I'm probably not going to have a good time of it while I'm talking at the same time, so I'm just going to roll with a bandit, because I'm going for a strength build exclusively. I might dump 1 point into dexterity, forgive me. But, anyways, I will now skip into the character creation, which is going to be incredibly important for me. But you probably don't want to watch 1 hour of me sitting there analyzing every small detail and whatnot. I will mention, however, that this fucking thing doesn't have a beard, and that is unforgivable. And I will also mention that, just briefly, anytime that you're going to be doing any sort of characterization, you go into the customization feature, the first thing that you're going to want to do is do the jaw and the nose. And after that, everything else is just going to be very small incremental details. Don't take the sliders over to their extremes, like very high on the east side or the west side. Because that is going to fuck up the way that the game engine handles character creation. And it's going to kind of, this is not going to make any sense, but it kind of hinges all the little meshes that it's working with together, and it kind of hinges things and pulls things down too much and causes things to stretch a little bit too much. I could demonstrate it, but whatever. Hope that's interesting enough. Forgive me, so sorry. Alright, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, welcome back everyone. I'll tell you now that took about 12 minutes. Usually takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to do that sort of thing, to make a new character. Alright, but just to demonstrate, Plague of Gree, no, we don't want Plague of Gree. Won't fit the whole way. Plague of Gropes, never considered that before. Plague of Gripe, no, we're missing an S. So even trying to compact everything together, that's not quite working out the way that I want to. So let's just go with Plague, why not? Fuck me. So I think we're set for everything. Yes, I do believe. Okay, so since I want to focus on storytelling, I'm not going to interrupt any cutscenes. So pay attention, because there's going to be a quiz afterwards.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
Fuck those fucking guys. I'm so fucking tired of goddamn dragons spinning every goddamn thing.
But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
This is all underground.
Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bullets peeled apart.
Look at that one burning in the background.
Witches weaved great firestorms.
Fucking dragons.
Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more.
A few were left. As we'll see much later on.
Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain.
Some people think that this is Anastasia of Astora, the fire-linked shrine maiden.
Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights.
Wearing the same shit, has the same hair.
And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Not the Dark Ring or the Dark Hole. FromSoft was informed that was a bad name, for various reasons. Get out a sheet of paper and a pen. Question 1. Who came from the dark? They did.
Yes, indeed. The dark side brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
That is dire. The end of all things. When I hear to await our execution.
This is your fate.
When I hear to await anything except for eternity. Essentially, we have been forgotten. Check out those bugs, by the way. Doesn't look great, but that's okay. That's okay. Why didn't you just throw me the key, asshole? Demon on the roof! Nah. That'd be great, though. That would have been nice. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is to fist this hollow's asshole. Deep in there and get our key and move on. If I had light skin in the character creation, so I get purple jerky for my hollow skin color. It depends on what your original skin tone was. By the way, the dark sign is on your back in Dark Souls 2 on the left shoulder. Dark Souls 1, it's not anywhere specific, but there is kind of swirly bullshit all over you, so kind of just take your pick. In both, it looks nothing like how it's actually depicted in the main menus, though. Now, I'm going to want to focus on atmosphere in this game. Lots of undead walking around, or hollows, I should say. Here's our buddy in the back. How's it going? We'll be visiting you later. And you'll probably actually kick my ass. These are actually also called pygmies. They are the ones that came from the dark. They look exactly like the guys from the original cinematics for a reason. Because they have lost the souls that were making them not look like that. In the Age of Ancients, nothing lived or died. Pygmies seem to be immortal, and it isn't until you actually possess part of the primordial flame that you get a soul. And when you get a soul, you can die. Check out this guy, by the way. There's no real plot relevance to him. He's just a hollow with a bag on his head. Pretty cool. It kind of insinuates that he was tossed down here to be executed or something. I don't know, a lot of questions raised with this guy. But nothing more than that. Nothing's really that special about it. There's our future escape route that we'll be using on our return visit later on. Oh, like this game, like Star Siege. I'm so overwhelmed with information that I'm struggling to say it all at once. But for now, let's just take a look at our hollow friend down here. Note his eyes and how they glow red because he's evil, but also because within him, and every human for that matter, there's a burning ember, the remnants of their soul. Pretty nice teeth, all things considered. But yeah, that's a little 2D flame. It's red. All humans possess Dark Soul fragments, so I've sometimes wondered if that means that they've, been blinded by Gwyn's soul or something. But I'm probably giving Miyazaki too much credit. It's probably just red just because it shows up better, and that's it. During the Age of Ancients, or the Age of Dragons, or Age of Grey, there was no life or death. Nothing ever happened or ended, for that matter. And the dragons just sat on their fat asses, jerking each other off and making fun of Seath. Bonfires, by the way, they're extensions of the first flame. And they say lit because of Gwyn. But no matter what fragment of the original soul one of those original souls that you have, it's linked to that first flame. But we hollows are the only ones that can actually respawn there. Humans are actually just as old as gods in this game. And demons, for that matter. Just like our friend up here. He kind of blurs if you enter the room. Let's step back and get him. Yeah, okay. It's a little bit better. Notice you still hear the stomping. Our baghead friend down there, he was beaten up by the stray demon. This is the asylum demon. It's kind of interesting that this is the asylum demon and the guy down there is a stray demon. It kind of insinuates that the one down there has lost his way or something, that he's strayed from his job. Which is kind of weird. You would think that demons have jobs. Doesn't make any sense. But I'll briefly fight this guy, stab him in his cheap little posterior. He kind of has like a little mini butt right around his anus. So weird. Just to show how little damage you do. Only 2 per hit. So we're out. I'll be back for you later. Second bonfire. I have no idea what happens if you don't light this one. I know if you don't light any and you die somehow, I think you just show up in your cell. Ow. Forgot how to roll. I'll get B. So many games actually have A as roll instead of B. And I've been playing some of those recently that it's kind of fucking me up in some ways. Okay, main menu. Weapon hand and offhand. Consumables over to the side along with the crossbow and arrow slots. Armor down at the bottom, and ring slots. But I don't have a proper weapon yet. Let's just go with our spider shield, which I probably won't be using. Although it shows you starting with your weapon and shield in the character creation, you have to physically get them from corpses. Kind of weird. It kind of suggests that either you were that corpse at some point, or more likely, they were taken from you, and then some of the other hollows that, or the undead that Oscar let out somehow managed upon them themselves. Oh. Man, he's not running away this time. He does this sometimes, but I've never seen him be this aggressive. I'm trying to roll. Ah, fuck it. I was trying to roll just based on the sound, which was working, but he's firing so fast it doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a spanking, mister. Take this. Hope you learned your lesson. Oh yeah, ragdoll. That was oddly sexual for a moment there. Still kind of is. Look at the curves on that hollow. He really enjoyed that spanking. Anyways, apart from the primal bonfire, which is never really explained any more than that, probably just because Miyazaki wanted a flimsy pretext, 4 pygmies found 4 fires. During the Age of Ancients, there were no humans, no gods, no witches or demons. Only dragons, pygmies, and apparently some creatures that inhabited the dark, like serpents. And maybe giants. I have no idea what this fog is supposed to be, by the way. It made more sense in Demon Souls. A lot of things are carried over from demons, by the way. That makes no sense. There's a ring up there. Can't get it yet. For now, we'll just go talk to Oscar. Anyways, yeah, the 4 souls, the pygmies took the names of Gwyn Nito, the Witch of Izalith, who apparently didn't believe in names, and Manus, although some people will get furious if you suggest that the furtive pygmy is Manus, because I really like the idea of, it wasn't quite as good of a shot of that as I was hoping, and that Manus is not just some schmo. But anyways, all the descendants of Gwyn are called gods, all the descendants of the furtive pygmy are us, humans. And all of us pygmies, no matter who they are, came from the dark. The descendants of the Witch of Izalith were just called witches, I guess, or sorcerers, up until she made the mistake of trying to recreate the original fire, which made demons. Just like the one that knocked our friend Oscar down here. Right through the roof.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I are both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Oh, all right.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know.
This is a very elaborate
Now
saying.
I know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
Okay. They never really explain what the hell this thing is. Just assume that it's like collecting fire juice or something. If you beat the demon already, he'll give you the key out of here.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Alright. I'll go ahead and mention, of course, that Oscar originally had a much bigger part in the story. He was going to be the yin to your yang, and basically be a rival and guide, and he'd hand out information to you sometimes, and ultimately would be sort of the final boss, or the final opponent anyways. If you choose to relight the fire, he'll try to stop you. If you choose to walk away, he'll again try to stop you and relight the fire anyways. And he did all this because he's supposedly he was terrified of the idea of having no purpose or identity in history and being forgotten. Didn't really care for it. But having been around for gamers for years, a lot of people lament not having things, even if they're dumb. Hearing about content being removed, they always want it. It doesn't matter if it was a stupid idea in the first place. By the way, hear that noise of death? Here come his souls! Whee! Only 100 souls, though. Kinda sad. Kinda sad, Oscar, that you only had 100 souls contribute. What if I can remember how to parry? I need to go back to the bonfire anyways, but... no, fuck this. Fuck this. I'm out. Let's just go back to the bonfire and heal back up, and then I'll show you what I need to show you. I was going to show you that, Oscar, who... Actually, he's never even named in the game. It's just one of those credit things. Does not show back up. Anyways, I'm kind of glad they got rid of his arc. For one, especially after 2, I'm sick of Asian tropes about light and dark. Sick of it. Now, he's not here. Where does Hollow go? The game suggests that they respawn at bonfires, but did we ever see him at ours? Nope. Don't think about it too much. As for game purposes, the only Hollow that revives is us. And kind of these guys kind of just show back up. But he ends up showing back in his cell much later on. Okay, now as I remember how to parry. I will try to explain that I think it's that it's a big disservice to Oscar and his characterization. That there we go. That the game insists that he doesn't have any character other than he's not you. Plus, a lot of those elements, those ideas are already present in other characters in the game anyways, and they are much better done, so that was never needed. The original idea for Oscar is just kind of shitty writing, in my opinion. People obsess over it being included because everyone wants cut content, even if the content was cut for being inappropriate or bad in the first place. I can understand wanting cut content for it not having time or whatever. Let's roll around on the ground here. Maybe I can attract our friend. Oh, already did. Rolling around, they're attracted by noise. Ugh, I hate the pairing in all of these games. I'm resisting the urge to go on about it because I know I'll end up rambling about it for the next 10 minutes. And that's something I'll save for much later. But regardless whether you can land it or not. What's behind this wall? Nothing! Oh, secrets everywhere in Dark Souls. Maybe that's where Oscar's bonfire is. Where we can't see him. Actually, I would guess that if he had one, it might be on the roof somewhere. Because, again, he was on the roof, trying to let people out of their cells. There's a more advanced hollow in here. Guess I'll go killing too. Everyone has needs. These guys can drop hollow gear, which is not great, but it's there. You can get pretty much everything in the game just from playing normally, almost. Most things... If there's armor sets, you'll just find them on the corpse. It's not like Dark Souls 2. I really wish that pairing in all the games wasn't some big dumb wind-up moves that results in a one-hit kill. I want it to be a parry. It's always been a problem in these games. In 2, they tried to make dodging unrealistically godlike to solve it. In Bloodborne, they just got rid of it. A lot to bitch about in there, but I'll save it for later. For now, Demon Friend. Plunge attack. Actually doing a jumping R2 results in more damage, I think. Yeah, it's not bad. Took off a little bit more than half of his health with that one attack. Which really you don't even need. He's not that difficult of an opponent. Although, of course, new players that don't know his animations struggle a bit more. One more time. I can probably finish him in one hit. Two? Got greedy. It's a good thing he's not that strong. That probably would have killed me in one hit if he was realistically strong. You ever wonder where they keep these items? Why is this key that he dropped covered in curly little hairs? And why is it so shiny? Best not to think about it. Anyways, we're done here. But going back to the earlier thought, I'll mention the Soul of Light makes gods, the Soul of Dark makes humans, the Soul of Life makes witches, and then demons, of course. And the Soul of Death makes nothing in Dark Souls 1 anyways. And 2, they did make up a new race called the Finita. By the way, I'm a completionist, so I feel the need to get everything. No matter what build that I happen to be using. So even if I was making like a dexterity and sorcery build or something, I would still pick up a Zweihander and still try to get Demon's Great Hammers and stuff. By the way, notice how nice this background is. Very nice. It also gives you an impression of just how isolated this place is. Makes you wonder how and when it was built, why it was built. Yeah, there's no obvious way here. Also note the gravestones around here. Why would hollows need graves? This place apparently at some point served as either a normal asylum, or it was some kind of a temple from what I can actually gather. And they lead all the way up here. Kind of looks like part of this place is shattered off. Anyways, enough of that. Time for Velka crows or ravens. Whatever.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen.
Come here, bitch.
To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage.
To the land of the ancient lords.
Oh, what could that be called? The land of ancient lords.
Lordran.
Oh, how clever. Wonder if that makes any sense in English. In things that aren't English. Pilgrimage is a weird way to say it. So the game is, by the way, Bell Tower on the left, and Solaire's probably on the Hellkite, near the Hellkite Bridge over there on the right. As though the game is admitting your pilgrimage. You actually belong in the asylum. It kind of hints that maybe you're expected to go back, or it's actually where you actually belong. ignore that message. The Gravelord Covenant is really, really weird. I wouldn't think too much about it. I'll try to explain it later, for God's sake. The Covenants in this game are absolutely horrendous. And they're still horrendous in 2. But I guess the first thing I'll do, which I'll probably go on to regret, is go human and grab some humanity right out of this amazing thong. This humanity is pretty shiny too. Oh, that's the worst part of Lordran. All these butt items. But I figure I'll go human first things just because. Dark Souls 1 I find way more difficult than 2. In 2 I practically only die because I slip off a ledge or something. Of course, in 2, you use effigies for God knows what reason. And in 1, you actually have to physically burn soft humanity inside of a bonfire. Soft humanity and hard humanity are 2 completely different things, and I'll explain that much later on. But I'll save all that shit for next time. We'll speak to this crusty asshole behind us then. Oh, there's gonna be so much to talk about, for God's sake. I'm definitely afraid of missing character dialogue, though, so I've made a list to try to make sure I know when to return to places and so forth. But I'm sure I'm going to miss something. This playthrough is not going to go well at all. I'm sure of it. Sure of it! The story of this playthrough will be failure. I'm sure of it. So, here's to the nightmare of life. Stay tuned for more life lessons. So long, my sexy pygmies.